Good morning, everybody. See what the stock market has to offer us today. Looks like the NASDAQ coming down a little bit. Futures drop. eBay rockets. Dow Future gets an upgrade. Oh yeah, what's eBay doing? They finally figure out they sell stuff on the internet. The internet's hot. Ooh, a little double bottom at the bottom. Good morning, Michael. Here's a bit of a lower low in the weekly, double bottom. There's your buy point on eBay, kind of. It's not really technically a buy point. A double bottom should be a continuation pattern. This is at a low. In crypto, you can see these at lows. I haven't really seen them in, or maybe I haven't paid attention or looked for them at the bottom of stocks too much, but this one jumped out at me. That should be your entry point there. eBay's up at 34. Looks like they had earnings coming up. So they did not have earnings. 34, eBay is way up here. So that's pretty good. That's crossing the 200-day moving average. Cool. eBay appears to be in a nice downtrend. Look at that. That's beautiful. That, actually, you could have bought that on Friday. We weren't looking at eBay, but that's a good look right there. Well, we do have earnings coming up. That may have kept you out of it. But nice pop. Splunk among 23 stocks expecting 50 to 2,300% growth. Perfect. That's a good screen. Stocks expecting a ton of growth. Here we go. Composite rating. Check this out. Look at this list. Q4 earnings. ServiceNow, Splunk among 23 stocks expecting 50 to a lot of growth. Let's go through this list right there. If you want to look at this, I'll put the link in the description. You should be able to type it in later if you want to. Market's going to open in a little bit here. Don't know if we're going to get through the entire list before the market opens. VICI, weekly chart on the top, daily on the bottom. It's a little bit all over the place. You guys can research these a little later. We'll see if anything looks super interesting. NXST, Neo, with a Ninja Star pattern on the daily. That's not a sanctioned pattern. That's something that I made up. That appears to be a double bottom in ALSN. Here's a low. Here's another low. That's your buy point. So ALSN already crossing a buy point. Volume really low. Do with that what you will. GTN. Match.com. That trend line I have drawn apparently doesn't exist in real life. Should be here. Already crossed over that, so that's good. SPLK, a little choppy. CIN. Paycom. CIN already nice and rocketed. Oh, looks like it already had earnings, though. This next earnings isn't for a while, so that's good. That's very good. Volume not very aggressive on this run-up. A little bit of a flag here. Higher volume than the previous day here, but it's still pretty low. It can work like that. That's perfectly fine. Unfortunately, the buy point, it's a very messy buy point up here. 1, 2, 3, 4... So the buy point kept getting pushed higher and higher. This probably would be your buy point failed, and then it retook it here is probably what it is. So CN's already up 10%. Too elevated to buy. Paycom. We already know about Paycom. We talk about Paycom. Looks like market's opening. Not a whole lot of green on my screen. Tesla, INS, Chegg. Lilly's flat, VMW's flat. Let's keep going with this list. HZNP. Haven't looked at that one. Respected that 200 moving average on the daily. You can see down there. That's done very nicely, and that's about it. Okay, ServiceNow. We talked about ServiceNow, not in a long time though. Not in a long time. It's been very choppy. We were talking about it as it was kind of moving up this very, very tight range here as it just kind of moved up. I guess in hindsight on the weekly chart here, it's actually rather wide than it is narrow. But at the same time, it's very tight. Hold on a second. All right. Looks like Nasdaq's opening to the elevated side of the range, or at least this part of the range. See what happens there. Okay, ServiceNow, nice little flat top there. It's been tightening up, tightened up here and failed. It's tightening here again. We'll see if this can break. Earnings are coming up on the 30th, which is next week, about a week from today, a week and a day. So we'll see what happens with ServiceNow. We'll see if we get a run into earnings. It's always a gamble to try to buy before earnings, so do with that what you will. LendingTree. Oh, nice little run here recently out of the lows. Okay. I kind of like that. Bouncing out of the lows here. Pretty decent volume. Good volume through here. Good volume through there. Tree's not looking too bad from a volume perspective. Looks like that was a nice little resistance point break at about 270. So pretty good. We talked about VEEV breaking this point right there. That's already broken, well above that. MEDP, pretty choppy, but still elevated, which is good. Excuse me, guys. GDOT. GDOT is a PayPal-ish company that deals with electronic payments. And doesn't look as poppy as some others. Doesn't look like it wants to stay higher yet. We won't lose sight of it. LPLA, advisors to the advisors to the advisors. Talk about breaking that trend line right there. Looks like it kind of rocketed higher for a few days. Earnings are about a week and 2 days away from now on the 31st. LHCG's next. Looks like pulling back from a bit of a double top situation. Have to see how that works out. FTNT. Ooh, Mellanox. I haven't seen Mellanox in these lists in a long time. For FTNT, not really having a good day today, or the past couple of days. We talked about it trying to break out. We mentioned volume was a little low. It was looking good though, and looks like two pretty bad days. Puts us back down towards the lows. Not super happy with that. Most of these down here have at least closed off of the lows. This one's pretty low, pretty far down. This one closed in about 70% of the range. This one about the same, 70, 75. We'll see if this is a continuation. This is another lower high. We'll see. Yeah, nothing to do here with FTNT. You may have been stopped out already, even if you bought it. MLNX. Okay, didn't notice the run it had in late 2017. It wasn't on my list at all. Had a nice run. I missed it. And then over here recently, not super happy with all this action, and even down here, it looks like it did rally it did start to rally as the market was negative, but then recently it hasn't been staying with the positive part of the market, so I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, which means I pass on it. I'd like all stars to align if I'm going to invest in something. And these are the last two, Ametis and Mercy. Not sure I liked Ametis. Mercy's okay. All right, let's check out the list. We got EDU, or watch list, I should say. Cron. Cron still trying to go up, which I'm not mad at. Here actually had a pretty breakout day the other day. It was up many, many percents. Right there. Sold off many percents too, it looks like, by the end of the day. It was just started rocketing higher. Looking at it, it's like, whoa, it's way up here. Stars, Tesla coming back a little bit. INS. Okay, so there's Stars, TZA, MJ. MJ coming higher out of this little tiny consolidation that it's been doing for last week. So far, 1 week consolidation. Almost consisting on the weekly here of, if it closes within this range, it could be a 3 weeks tight scenario for MJ, which would be an add-on point. But today, this is only, day one of this week. Of a shortened week, actually. MLK was yesterday. Happy MLK Day. And we'll see what happens here. If this can end up staying flat for the week this week, we'll end up with a 3 weeks tight scenario, in which case your buy point is the high of those 3 weeks. And then that would be your add-on point. So we'll see how that plays out. Maybe it won't wait. Doesn't look like it wants to, but it might. Tilray 1%. After big cave in the other day, still looks like it has that trajectory to the downside. Starbucks up here today. Remember, this thing popped up a while ago, continued, then kind of stalled. And that's what you get. CME, Tesla. We know Tesla's been volatile, just laid off a bunch of people. Looks like Wall Street didn't like that. That's really funny because Wall Street loves it when people get fired. At least it seems like they do. I say that lovingly and jokingly. But yeah, definitely with a big downside move. So far, not trying to come back as much. And a lot of green on my screen now. So far, earlier, if you recall, it was just a few green stocks, maybe 15, 20. Now it looks like we got, 30, 40. So we're moving in the positive direction in terms of the general population. In terms of Gen Pop stocks, VMW flat today. Let's see what it looks like here. So Friday crossed our trend line here. Didn't get very far. Muted volume. You can see it's definitely lower than these other buying candles over here. But not too bad. Not too bad. Didn't really sell off, which is good. Actually closed at the high of the day, which is what you'd like to see. Not selling off again here today, which is healthy. Looks like INSG's flat. After a couple of pullback days, elevated volume. It's not running lower though, so that's good. Looks like it's come down about 14% after a huge run. I mean, really a spectacular run. THRM. Been looking at this in this large triangle for a while. It's kind of keeping an eye on it. Eli Lilly. After drug trial failure, look at that on Friday. They bought it up. And Lilly seems to take a while to go anywhere. And, I mean, you can see this range, I think, is like 15%, 13% range. This whole range is 13% through the bear market. What up? What up, Eli? So, and then after the drug trial failure, look at that. They still bought it. That's quite astonishing. So, Eli Lilly still a bastion of strength in a very, very wide and loose market. THRM, we've got this highlighted, okay. Talked about that. AMED, doing okay. Twitter, doing okay. Still holding tight in its flag. Have earnings coming up on 2/7, so a few weeks. Maybe they're waiting for earnings to happen. When's Facebook's earnings? Twitter may or may not move in. Oh, Facebook is soon. So Facebook before Twitter. That's good for me. But Facebook down kind of in bargainish levels. Kind of thinking, listened to a story on NPR the other day about how Facebook and Instagram works and how Instagram is going to be 70% of Facebook's revenue by 2020. I'm sure the institutions know that, and this may continue to be a leader as the money shifts platforms but stays within the same bucket, which is called Facebook. So there you go. Yeah, Eli Lilly, yeah, something good about him. Yeah, it's just holding tight, which is crazy. 13%. Even before the bear market, its range was 13%. Then through the bear market, its range is 13%. What are you going to argue with? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to argue with? So, but yeah, Facebook, not doing too bad, showing a lot more green than red since we had the bottom here, and looking pretty good. We'll see what happens on earnings. I think that'll be a good bellwether for, um, I guess, just how they feel about tech, and we'll see what the revenue and growth perspectives look like. If they're still investing in privacy, whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about any of that. Chegg. Yeah, Tesla dropped based on, apparently they didn't like the fact that Elon said they were having a hard time. I mean, you would think after they're profitable it should be easier, but apparently it's harder to make that $35,000 Model 3. Um, we can speculate all day long about what Elon could do, but kind of useless. I personally would argue too, if I had all the data and things supported this, I'd almost think about not arbitrarily laying off 7,000 workers, which I'm not sure he's doing that. Oh, it looks like Nasdaq just took a route to the downside. We know that we're due some kind of a pullback in the markets. It doesn't have to happen. We've seen coming out of bear markets where things just trudge higher, but it's already getting bought right back up. There's a lot of buying in this market, a lot of buying, which is why we haven't pulled back. But we talk about, maybe we get a pullback. Here's that trend line since the top of the bear market, encompassing all of these highs, which is one. And so we're through that right now, through the 50-day, which is bullish. Obviously, we've been above the 10-day since here, supported by the 10-day, which is bullish. So across underneath the 10-day would put the 50 at risk, and the 50 is right on top of the 10-day at this moment in time. So we'll see how we deal with a pullback, which we haven't had yet. We just haven't had a pullback yet, and that shows a very strong market. There's a few bear markets that you'd expect a pullback, and you never really get one. It moves higher, then you get a pullback much higher, much higher. Not saying it's going to happen here, but it's a possibility. All right, sorry about that. Just turned my ringer off. Dip buying on Tesla. Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. Let's go check it out right quick. So there's the weekly on Tesla. We're getting back to the middle part of this range. Looks like we're already in the lower part. Well, this kind of weird broadening wedge is like the largest broadening wedge in history. Not the case, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, from a technical perspective, we're just in chop at this stage of the game. So ideally, you'd like it to start behaving healthier after earnings. You came in, started putting in a nice higher consolidation, which except for this one, all these higher levels are basically just spikes, spike, 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 retest, spike, retest, and then we ended up with a bit of a healthier scenario where we were maintaining up in this level. We went higher, and then we started falling off here. I forget why we fell off here. Maybe that was the last throes of the bear market or something. But anyway, now we're kind of going down to living lower again. So 300 does seem to be a bit of a floor for Tesla. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, now 7 candles down here hitting that 300 range. You can do an eighth if you include this green day right there. So yeah, it's possible this could be a good day to buy. Maybe you blanket buy at 300. It has been the floor since we had these lows at 250. It does give you a little bit of risk, about 15%, which is a little deep. But that's a big vote of unconfidence, vote of no confidence. There you go. That's a better English word to use. That seems to me like a bit of no confidence. I was really liking how we didn't have a lot of selling spikes. Looks like now they're back. So the short sellers came back in again probably and said, oh yeah, now Tesla's, the good news is done. Now we're going to start seeing problems. I don't know what's what. Wife's account still in Tesla. She mentioned the other day she was down a bunch. I'm like, just hold on to it, you know. Longer term, it'll probably be fine. But you can see here the volume was kind of drying up a little bit on this little up thrust here. That should have shown a little bit of, not necessarily impending doom. No one could have known that Elon would have put out an announcement and had this big reaction. But I kind of wish we'd be a little tighter, I guess is the general sense. I wish we'd be a little bit tighter. But, you know, if you're holding this for longer term, I think you're fine. Hopefully Elon can, temper his delusions of grandeur into stock profitability, which I think in time will happen. But, you know, it's hard to know what goes on in that man's mind. Especially as the company gets bigger, I don't think he's done anything. Tesla's a huge undertaking. Hold on a sec. All right. Anyway, enough about that. All right. So we got Goose. Goose was having a couple of good days, I think. Yeah, good day right there. Bit of a selling on Friday. I didn't really check on the market much over the weekend. Super busy this weekend. Chegg. It's like Chegg's down a little more. Pulling back. That's fine. Square pulling back. Square with a couple of monster days, man. Look at that. Just super strong strength, whatever. Really just moving higher. 1.65 down today. Not the end of the world. Appears to be low volume so far. Yeah, you up, James? Yeah. Mommy's still outside. If you run, you can catch her. She's out front. Huh? Oh, you already did it? Okay. Hold on again. All right, my 4-year-old's very whiny and cryy today. Very. All right, let's see. The market dropped a little bit, coming down to the lows of the overnight session here. Looks like, let's see what volume looks like. Pretty elevated compared to Friday. Not so much Thursday, though, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here. This trend line's probably not going to be right. Yeah, trend line right there probably. Yeah, with kind of these lows. We'll see if we can hold that. That would keep all of this at bay. Today that could bring us down to 66.81. We'll see. Again, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So there's that. Okay, so there's the trend line throughout the day if you can view it like that. Square down 2.3 now. Team pulling back. So ideally what we'd like to see here is a low volume pullback. Ideally. Whoa, look at that on team after earnings. I'm not sure what they didn't like. I did see a nice comment on IBD. This stock boasts healthy yield, bullish chart. Looks like AES. Let's go take a look at that. Super large double bottom base, it appears here, which puts your buy point up here above $16. And it looks like a little bit of change to the high is 1602, so 1612 technically would be your buy point on this one. Not a lot of volume on the right side of this. Not really enjoying that. Introduced the largest solar and storage system in the world. Interesting. You got so a solar company. Looks like an energy. The model ladder. Yield of 3.6%. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good yield. Long-term dividend growth rate of 25%, which is pretty amazing. So heavily into renewables, it looks like AES. If you're interested in dividend stocks, they're touting that one as a really good one. Do more research. Exchange trading funds tracking small caps are outperforming their bigger cap peers in this market. EES. Came in with a 9.7 year-to-date gain through Wednesday, more than twice the S&P 500. More than twice. So this is a fund. Tracks an index bearing the same name. It marks its 12th anniversary next month. Small cap dividend up 8.7%. DES. Similar chart. Well, so let's see what the Russell's doing. I haven't looked at the Russell in a while, which is a shame. Oh, yeah, look at the Russell. Killing the S&P. Boom, all the way back up. Look at that thing. Already up a bunch. There's a small cap that tracks the Russell called TNA, which is 3 times that. So if we do get to all-time highs, you're looking at 82% from here. How's it looking today? Pulling back as well. Small cap funds paying big dividends. I guess it's always nice to be paid a dividend. 4.2 for TERP, which is an individual name. Okay, if you want to take a look at that article, I'll post that for you guys too. Take a look at that. All right. Another clickbaity title. These 5 stocks have same pattern as Amazon when it launched a 240% run. Let's go look at them and let's see what they're talking about. So we got Workday, Zscaler, Union Pacific, Five Below, Dollar General. And so what's the pattern? Cup with handle? Handles. Chart patterns with handles are some of the most bullish bases of all time. Amazon broke out of a cup with handle base in 2016, surged 240% in the next 27 months. Are they going to show it? Oh, my kid's going to come in here crying. Hold on. All right, sorry guys, it's been a crazy morning here at the household. Middle of a real bounce or dead cat. So I think this is real as long as stuff doesn't hit the fan with China. Is really what it is. That's what it boils down to. I think they heard what they want out of the Fed, and now they're waiting to see how China goes. But I think that the market believes it's promising. As far as what is we're digging into, well, we're looking for potential entries. See if there's anything now. If we get a little pullback here, which would probably break this trend line, then we'll be able to see what some of the better performers will be, and that can give us a little bit of a clue. So, like I said, I already took a position in Square. It's been behaving really well out of the lows, broke that trend line. So it's been behaving really well. So I'm holding on to that right now. I'm looking for one or two other investments potentially, but I'm not going to rush it. I'm not really running to get back in the market. Yeah, I also bought Lilly. Unfortunately, right before I bought it on this day where it broke out here. So we'll see how it goes the next, I don't know, week or two. We'll have to see. But I mean, yeah, Lilly's been a very, very strong stock. We'll just have to see how that works out. All right, so we got CRISPR down 13%, Weibo here, WLL, Manitowoc. Tilray now is down 5%. Funko, 805 already. Ugh. So I get with a whiny boy. And we're back down to my list being showing a bunch of red. That's not so good. INSG looks like it's bucking the trend a little bit. It was red earlier. Looks like it bounced back some. Lilly, Paycom, basically flat. So today will be a choppy day, it appears. At least so far, the first half hour of the day has been choppy. Can't assume that'll change a tremendous amount. Shen up here looking pretty good in your cup with handle. So Shen with a nice cup with handle. Let's go look at some of the numbers on Shen. I forget. So 97 composite rating for Shen and 97 relative strength rating for Shen. Both are good. Oh yeah, this is Shenandoah Telecommunications. This is not a China name. This is Sprint in like 4 eastern states with huge earnings for some reason. Not quite sure why. It's kind of flying under the radar a little bit. But nice cup with handle here, so your breakout point would be about the $50 level in Shen. Yeah, exactly, Eli. We definitely need some basing. Absolutely agree with that. Goose, AMRN. Twitter down 2% today. So far within the realm of this consolidation, which is nice. NetEase. Yeah, so let's see what the day brings today. It's a shortened week. We'll see what happens. We know we can definitely drop a little more here today, and we'll see how things react after that. I'll try to keep an eye on things. I know I've got a few. You all right, James? What are you looking for? Oh, blue. Yeah, you're late, Bled. We started already. And yes, the world is on fire. Looking outside my window, I can see the family down the street crying in agony, hugging their dog as it burns in their arms. And the market makes new lows for the day. I think I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to leave you on fire. Leave all the markets on fire. Yeah, we'll see. So here, here's the general gist of it. We have this mini little channel that's just started. We'll see if it's maintained. Here's the point for that. About the 66.80 level today, somewhere down here, respecting the lows from last week. Right there, there, and there. And we'll see if we maintain that. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So far, this kind of appears to be slightly lower volume than we had a few days ago. So it's not super elevated volume. But, we'll see what happens with the overnight session. I'm not sure if it's longer due to MLK Day or not. But anyways, I'm going to get out of here, get ready for my Real Crypto newsletter. Go hug my crying son James a little bit more. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.